This video is brought to you by Sailrite. Visit Sailrite.com for all your project supplies, tools, and instructions. You can quickly and easily add a professional finished edge to your sewing projects with a 1 1/4 inch swing-away binder attachment for your sewing machine. This 1 1/4 inch binder was specially designed with a wider jaw to easily accommodate thicker canvas assemblies, carpet, or marine flooring. The Sailrite 1 1/4 inch swing-away binder attachment automatically guides and folds binding tape into place over the edge of fabric assemblies and carpet, giving you a finished edge. We have fed our polyester carpet binding into the binder and are now sewing it on the edge of a piece of carpet. This demonstration sewing binding on carpet is being performed using the Sailrite Fabricator sewing machine with a workhorse servo motor. When an outside corner is reached like this, go slowly and carefully rotate the carpet around the gentle curve, keeping the carpet pushed into the opening of the binder, as shown. The Sailrite 1 1/4 inch swing-away binder attachment will accept assemblies or carpets that will compress down to about a max of 5 or 6 millimeters in thickness. Because it's a swing-away binder, you can perform a reverse stitch to lock the beginning and end stitching in place. And notice the swing-away binder moves backwards when performing a reverse stitch to lock the stitch in place. Here are the end results of this straight stitch, on the top side and also on the bottom. If you've got a zigzag stitch sewing machine like this LSZ1, then you can sew a zigzag stitch while sewing the binding in place. Here we are sewing this polyester binding to the edge of carpet. A zigzag stitch is always sure to catch the assembly that is being sewn into the binding better than a straight stitch, especially around gentle outside curves. We did some reversing at the beginning and here at the end to lock the stitch in place. Let's take a look at the stitch quality and the way the binding was sewn onto the edge of this carpet assembly. Looks great. Want to use a higher quality binding? Here we're going to use a Sunbrella marine grade binding here, which is thicker, and feed it through the Sailrite 1 1/4 inch swing-away binder. And yet again, we're going to sew this carpet. Now let's get a closer look of the acrylic binding and also the polyester carpet binding. They're nice and tight and firmly placed up against the edge of the carpet. If you're impressed and are wondering if it'll fit on your current sewing machine, at the end of this video we'll discuss that in detail. We've inserted a Sunbrella acrylic binding 1 1/4 inch into the binder, and now we'll feed this marine flooring through the binder attachment, sewing on the binding along its edge. This marine flooring is sold at Sailrite. It is a vinyl woven mesh fabric with a padding on the underside. The Sailrite 1 1/4 inch swing-away binder will sew around gentle outside curves like this, as shown earlier with the carpet. But it will not easily sew inside curves or circles. A little later on we will discuss what's typically done for those inside curves using this binder attachment. Your job is simply to keep the assembly or flooring pushed well inside the opening of the binder. The binder attachment will fold the binding neatly and straight along the edge, all on its own. Here again, we're reversing. Notice the binder swinging backwards and then forward again. The finished results, gorgeous binding on the top side and also the underside. Taking a look at an edge profile, you can see the flooring pushed well inside the fold of the binding. Enclosure curtains or window panels for boats can get very thick, especially at corners, and when a clear vinyl of 40 gauge or higher is used, sometimes a 1-inch binder will not be wide enough to cover the edge, and the stitch may not catch the fabric assembly. In those situations, using the Sailrite 1 1/4 inch swing-away binder attachment can eliminate that possible issue entirely. This corner has 40 gauge clear vinyl window material and 8 layers of Sunbrella marine grade fabric, and you can see that the wider 1 1/4 inch Sunbrella acrylic binding easily folds over the thick assembly. Sewing binding along the other edge at the 90-degree corner, there is 16 layers of Sunbrella plus the clear vinyl window material. Now that is super thick, and the binding covers it beautifully. At the 90-degree turn, we'll use the Sailrite edge hot knife and carefully melt the binding and then press it in place to create an edge that will not ravel easily. Judge for yourself this finished edge on the top side and the bottom. It's gorgeous. The Sailrite 1 1/4 inch swing-away binder attachment will fit on many sewing machines, not just the Sailrite brand machines. However, it must be used with a mechanical walking foot sewing machine. Here we are installing it on the Sailrite Ultrafeed LSZ1 sewing machine. Again, we're using Sunbrella acrylic binding 1 1/4 inch. Here again, we're sewing a luxury woven vinyl flooring with padding on the underside. Are you wondering if the Sailrite Ultrafeed combined with the Sailrite 1 1/4 inch binder will sew carpet? Here we'll demonstrate yet again sewing carpet using the polyester carpet binding available at Sailrite. When Sailrite designed this binder, there were several things that were taken into consideration. For one, we did not want an opening that was so large that normal assemblies could not easily be sewn. We also designed the binder with a straight profile, so there were no curves that sometimes make pushing thicker assemblies into the binder's opening difficult. This makes it easier for the operator. This binder also features our exclusive stop screw, which prevents the binder from jumping over its frame and being pulled into the needle when sewing heavy assemblies. We've just completed sewing this carpet sample with the Sailrite Ultrafeed sewing machine, and as you can see, the binding is placed on the edge perfectly, and the stitch looks great on both the top side and the bottom side. Okay, it's time to talk about inside curves. This binder attachment will not sew those inside curves. So here, a binding has been pre-folded over the inside curve. We actually used a seam stick to pre-baste it in place. That process is shown in a separate video. Click the link at the top right to see that video. You probably can't see it easily here, but the binding being sewn down is actually coming from our Sailrite 1 1/4 inch swing-away binder attachment. Why? Because we will use the binder on the straightaway. Let's let Matt Grant explain.
Okay, now we're back to a straightaway. Let's just check to see what we got there. Make sure we caught it all. Oh yeah, we caught it all. That's good, and we're in the edge of the material. That's great. Okay, so now we can swing our bind. Now we can pull this loose binding, and we can swing our binder attachment back into position. Thus, the beauty of a swing-away binder. And now I can go back to supporting my material, and we're back to a straightaway until we get to that next curve.
Thanks, Matt. Now let's discuss if this binder attachment will fit on your sewing machine. This binder attachment works with all of Sailrite's walking foot sewing machines. As you can see, it has a lot of adjustments from left to right and fore and aft. But you may be asking, will this binder attachment work with your walking foot sewing machine? To determine this, measure from the needle to the first threaded hole for attachments on your sewing machine. If the measurement is between 1 3/16 to 2 3/16, you've passed the first hurdle. The second test should be done with the walking foot advanced all the way to the forwardmost position. Now measure the distance from the front of the presser foot over to the location where the threaded holes are located. The threaded holes should be no more than 5/16 inch to the rear or 1 1/8 inch to the front from the presser foot's forwardmost position. If you've passed these tests, chances are that the binder attachment will work for you. The Sailrite 1 1/4 swing-away straight binder is available exclusively at Sailrite. Order yours today.